So I was in a bit of a rut recently, and I say recently, this is probably like the start of March, but there was a good week where I didn't do anything. I was in a period of work that definitely brought up a lot of resistance because it was a really big needle-moving task for me to do, which was recording some of the big modules in my program Olympus. And while doing that, I fell into like a pretty big rut for around 1 week. Well, I really didn't do much work, but more than that, there was about 1 month where I didn't really do any of like, the self-improvement habits, like meditating, gratitude journaling, and anything like that. And now I'm back to it, right? I'm consistent on my habit tracker. I'm doing all the work that I need to be doing. So in this video, I'm gonna show you step by step what I personally did just last month to get out of this rut. Because ruts are inevitable. They're gonna happen, right? You're gonna have ups, like really good period of time, and you're gonna have downs, really bad periods of time. If you have 365 days in a year, then 36.5 days have to be bottom 10% days. So I'm gonna show you how to actually get out of those ruts. So the second you find yourself in a rut, you can just follow this video and get out of them. Step 1, and the step that you need, literally before anything else, is humility. You have to actually be okay with telling yourself and like actually accepting that you're in a rut. You can't just live in this delusion where you say, no, I'm actually really productive, I'm not in a rut at all. You have to stop and just accept, okay, I'm in a rut. And then step 2 after that is you need to define why. So surprisingly, what you might not expect is that a rut is actually a good sign, okay? So the reason that the majority of the time that you get into a rut is because you're facing a higher level of resistance, right? So let's say with the old thing you were doing, your resistance level is here and then your work level was here. So if it's above the resistance level, so you're fine. But then maybe you change something and now the resistance level is up here and then your work level is down here. So the resistance is beating the work and the resistance is telling you not to do the work, and obviously the work is wanting to do the work, and the resistance is stronger than the work. So it kills it and you don't do any work, right? You don't want this to happen, obviously. But it's actually a very good sign, because if your rut comes from increase in resistance, that means you've done something right. All resistance is your current self trying to stop you from becoming the person that you want to be. So if you're facing a higher level of resistance, it means that you're moving closer and you're moving towards the right direction to getting towards becoming that person that you want to be. So for example, a client of mine recently changed up his cold calling script, and he went from like basically booking no meetings to starting to book like a lot of meetings pretty consistently, and immediately he stopped. He just stopped doing any cold calls, and he fell into like a big rut, and like he was facing a lot of resistance, and his work level was a lot lower than the level of resistance he was facing. And that's because his work level was here, and this is the resistance that he faces when he's like able to book sales calls, right? But before that, he was doing like, his 150 cold calls per day, but the resistance was down here because he had like a terrible process and he wasn't actually booking any meetings. He got comfortable just doing cold calls without booking any meetings. So, but obviously that's not good, right? There's no point in doing cold calls if you're not booking any meetings. So his work level was here, but the resistance was very low because he wasn't really becoming that person who can, because fine, he was doing cold calls, but there's no point if you're not even booking any meetings. Then we hopped down a few goals and we changed up his process and we got him into a better process. And then in the first day with the new process, he booked 2 meetings, right? So immediately, because of that, what happened was the resistance level went from here to here, because his current self realized like, shit, okay, if he does a lot of cold calls with this method, he's going to start booking a lot of sales calls, and then he's going to start making money, right? Your current self doesn't want you to do that, because your current self wants you to stay where you are and not become that evolved self. Because to become that evolved self, you're going to have to kill the current self. So because of this change, he started facing a lot more resistance than his work level could handle. So because of that, the next week he did something like only 100 calls, where typically he's doing like 150 per day. So defining your why and actually like kind of like stopping, maybe like you want to take a night to sleep so you can be more rational, and then just ask yourself, what has happened, what has changed for me to get in this rut? And 9 times out of 10, it's going to be you're going to realize it's a good thing, because you're facing more resistance, which means you're getting closer to becoming the person who you want to be. So after you've done step 1 and you have the humility to actually accept and say, yes, I am in a rut, and then you've done number 2, so you actually define what has caused you to get into that rut. If the answer is that it's just resistance, which 9 out of 10 it will be, and as I just said, that's a good thing, then we move on to step 3. And step 3 is basically doing the easy to do, easy not to do actions, okay? And so this is something I learned from Stephen Bartlett when I went to his tour here in Sydney. So it's actions that are easy to do and easy not to do. So the most simple things, like things like meditating for 1 minute. Instead of like having like a full 10-page document for like a mindset thing, having a 1-page document that you read every morning instead of like a 10-pager that you read every morning and every night. Going to the gym, tracking your weight, tracking like what's in your bank account. Like very, very easy tasks. You should make it so that you can do your habit tracker in the morning and it takes under 5 minutes. Yeah? It's because you don't want to, once again, this is the ego thing. If your ego's too big and you think you're really good, you're going to immediately try and go back to how it used to be with 20 minutes meditation. You need to treat yourself like a kid. Treat yourself like you were at the very start of your journey. Because if you don't do that, you're just going to fall even deeper into a rut. Because you're going to try and do a 20-minute meditation after not meditating for 2 weeks, and then fail, and then spiral for another month. Start very easily and treat yourself as if you're a kid. And I would recommend being on step 3 until you can do all the habits for at least 10 days, okay? So let's say, you start again and you're 8 days in and you miss a day. Now, it resets. Until you can do 10 days straight in these very, very easy habits, don't progress to step 4, okay? And then finally step 4, after you've kind of been through the warm-up mode where you understand, okay, I'm gonna treat myself like a beginner, and you've stuck to it for 10 days. After that, you can go back to your old minimum standards, okay? And so it's really important here that you don't try and immediately set new massive goals and try and make them your new minimum standards. Go back to where you were before the increase in resistance. You don't want to set new goals trying to meditate for an hour instead of 30 minutes when you have this massive task at hand that needs like a high level of work to battle the high level of resistance, okay? Keep everything the same and just focus on that work task. So just to recap, humility, first of all, step 1 is just actually admit that you're in a rut. Don't have the ego to be like, no, I'm fine. Admit you're in a rut. Step 2, define why. If it's a resistance rut, which most of the time it is. And step 3, go back to basics, treat yourself like a beginner, have like a really easy habit tracker. And then step 4, after you can do that for 5 days, go back to your minimum standards. Okay? It's that easy and it's that simple. It honestly isn't that hard. Most people get caught up in step 1 and step 2, okay? Most people either say they're not in a rut, or they just kind of accept they're in a rut, and they just accept it and they don't do anything. They don't actually define why. So it's literally that easy, okay? First link in the description is the free community that's going to be opening up again very soon. I'll see you next one. Okay? Bye-bye.